The opinions expressed are those of the host. The material is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute investment advice, and it is not intended as an endorsement for any specific investment. Visit crestmontpw.com for more details.
Welcome to the Ascent. This is Sam McGee, CEO and owner of Crestmont Private Wealth. We have offices in the Hill Country in Boerne, Texas, and in the energy capital in Houston, Texas, near the Galleria area. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about something that, it has probably faded since New Year's. Resolutions, kind of, but more about investing in yourself. And we're going to talk about this from a variety of angles. Now, why are we talking about this on a financial advisory show on a podcast? Well, you save money, you invest money, you spend money, you give money. But if you can't take care of yourself and you can't take care of your own health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, what's the point, right? Baron, do you agree?
Amen.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to start with the career side. So I'll use my own personal story here. I started out right after A&M, went through A&M, loved it, thought I was going to conquer the world, came out and promptly got a job at a company I won't name doing credit finance. I was basically financing refrigerators, guns, furniture. It was really glamorous, let me tell you. Just amazing. And, there's a need for that. And I understand that. Not everyone can go out and afford, a really nice gun that you don't need maybe, or a really nice couch that you don't need maybe. But that's kind of where I learned that I liked helping people, because I kind of talked people out of, borrowing, and that made me think about advisory. So, but anyway, that job in particular, really bothered me. And that kind of made me think about reinvesting in myself to go get a graduate degree. And I went and got a finance MBA at University of Houston, go Cougs. And, that was just kind of one of those times for me that felt like such a struggle, but was really a shaping moment to reinvest in myself. And the reason I share that personal story is because you might be sitting here listening to this going, man, I really don't like my job. I don't like what I do. I don't like what's kind of going on in my day-to-day between 8 and 5. And just to be clear, I love my job now. Absolutely love it. Love advising families, helping them with their financial plans. And at Crestmont Private Wealth, that's exactly what we do. But today we're talking about reinvention and taking care of yourself and why that's so important, even beyond a financial plan and beyond the portfolio. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about, gosh, I want to do something else, but how would I possibly do that? Let me start with a book recommendation. My dad gave this to me 20 years ago, actually 25 years ago. And it's What Color Is Your Parachute? Really good book. And it helps you to think through, gosh, what motivates me? What keeps me up at night? What do I like? What am I passionate about? And kind of helps you to narrow down a path if you're not happy with the path you're on. In terms of reinvention, sometimes you have to go back and get new skills. Maybe you're in a job you don't really enjoy and you want to be a nurse. Well, yeah, that obviously requires going to nursing school. Or maybe you want to be an architect, going back and getting a second degree. People are doing that more and more now, and it's really neat to see when people are following their passions and making those sacrifices to go do it. And personally, I think that mid-career changers usually are happier. And I don't really have any data behind that, but it's kind of like you don't know what you want to do when you're in high school or college, unless you were just born to be an astronaut or something. But then later on, you kind of go, oh, I really like this, or I really want to go do this. And so those that make that career change mid-career, I often see just through our work that they really enjoy what they're doing. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about it, you go check out that book, What Color Is My Parachute? Okay, Now, some other things to be thinking about as you reinvest in yourself, really health, right? So you can be the richest person in the cemetery or the richest person, who's getting treatments constantly because of maybe not living, a healthy lifestyle. Or you can choose, God willing, a path towards a healthy lifestyle or towards taking care of yourself. And I see this even, honestly, even with myself, when life gets busy, maybe you have kids, maybe, you've got a lot of responsibilities. Sometimes you can choose yourself last. And, there's times for that. You got to put your kids first and your marriage first and those things. But, when somebody gets on the airplane and they talk about oxygen being deployed, what do they say? They say, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Why? Because you can't help anybody if you can't breathe, right? So if you're listening to this and you're going through maybe a really busy season and you're kind of letting your New Year's resolutions go and maybe getting the diet off track and not doing your physical or going to the dentist, those sort of things, they really matter. And I see this firsthand at Crestmont Private Wealth in our client base. Those that really take care of themselves early on and consistently over time, typically, not always, but typically, have more enjoyable longevity in retirement because they're actually able to go do things they want to do, right? And those that maybe didn't live the healthy lifestyle, they could pass away early. They could have a lot of medical problems. You either pay for it on the front end or you pay for it on the back end. So just food for thought. If you're listening to this and you're like, man, I'm in my 70s. It's just too late. I disagree. I disagree. I think there's every day is a new day where you can get up and do something for yourself to reinvest in yourself. So first we talked a little bit about career reinvention and going back and getting new skills, which is happening all the time. Whether you're wealthy or you're not wealthy, you can do that. I mean, that's the beauty of our, economy is it's a vibrant one and there's lots of things you can go do. Secondly, we talked about health, and really, I'm really talking about more kind of the exercise and diet. But then there's this other element, the mental health and the spiritual health that I think is so important. And taking the time to make sure that you are mentally and spiritually healthy will lead to a more happy existence. There's just no question in my mind. And I also find that when people are mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, they can usually stay on track. And I don't have statistics behind this. I'm sorry, Baron, but I just see it. I see when people are mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, they come into the office, there's a financial plan in place. Maybe the market's gone down a bit. Maybe it's gone down a lot. I find that they're a little more grounded, a little more able to follow that plan through, which ultimately benefits them, right? So there's all sorts of obviously benefits to staying healthy, but from a financial perspective, gosh, there's just so many. I mean, I could just sit here and talk about this for minutes on end, but I know the show's only 13 minutes, so we're not going to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pivot a little bit and talk about, other ways to stay fiscally healthy. Okay, so here's some tips. Number one, have a really good filing system for your financial documents. Now, I know some of you out there, and I know you're listening right now. Yeah, that's you. The person that puts everything in paper and you put it in a little cabinet and no one really knows where it is but you. Guess what? Bad idea. If you want to keep your paper, that's totally fine. But scan your stuff. Scan your stuff in, make it accessible to your spouse, label it, put folders, group things by, auto and home insurance, financial statements, tax returns, tax documents, do it by year. If you do that, you're going to make your life so much easier when you need to go access things. I even do this with like warranties and receipts on major purchases because it always pops up. You know, you have that oven break like mine did, and you go look up the warranty only to find out that the guy doesn't honor the warranty. But, you know, at least I found it, Baron. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we talked a little bit about just investing in yourself in terms of education, investing in yourself in terms of, you know, staying healthy physically, financially, mentally, spiritually. Now, why are we talking about this on the Ascent at Crestmont Private Wealth? Why? I mean, why are we talking about this? These are the kind of things that we talk about in meetings, believe it or not. You know, I think a lot of times there's this misconception that wealth management is strictly about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, the market. Sure, that's our primary business. Absolutely. But we want to know our clients. We care about our clients. We want them to live fulfilling lives. And we want them to be able to get to the places they want to go with their money. Well, I don't know anyone out there that is super, super happy, that is overwhelmed, maybe very unhealthy, has tons of money, right? I don't see that. And probably one of the greatest blessings I've had in our practice at Crestmont is being able to meet so many awesome families that have different dynamics and different things going on and different concerns. And if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, you know what, I do need to get financially healthy, and you happen to be a high earner or a high net worth, and by definition, we look at that as $1 million portfolio and up, or high earning, which is typically, you know, $250,000 and up in income per year. That's who we serve. You could be young, you could be old. We would love to hear from you. You can reach us at info@crestmontpw.com, and stay healthy, my friends. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode today. And if you'd like to hear something that's on your mind, reach out to us as well. Again, info@crestmontpw.com. If you're listening to it and you'd like to be a special guest and you've got something interesting to share, we'd love to have you. Have a great weekend and God bless.